Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to The Real Dish Show, the place where we peel back the onion on your fabulously fit life. I'm Chef Maria, the Fit Foodie. And with over 30 years of experience in the health and wellness world, I'm here to guide you on this journey to uncover the keys to living a vibrant, balanced life. Whether you're seeking practical tips for nutrition, fitness, mental well-being, or simply craving insightful conversations with experts in the field, you've come to the right place. Now get ready to embark on a holistic adventure toward a healthier, happier you and make shift happen for good. So we talk about food all the time on this show. Of course, it's the real dish. But have you ever stopped to think about the actual words we use? What the origin of these words are? Well, today I'm interviewing Mark Morton. He's the author of Cupboard Love, a dictionary of culinary curiosities. Now in its third edition, in 1997, it was nominated for a Julia Child Award. Cupboard Love explores the fascinating stories behind familiar and not so familiar gastronomic terms. Like, who knew that the word pomegranate is related to the word grenade? Well, you kind of get the idea. And that baguette is a cousin of bacteria. Well, that's not so appetizing. Or maybe even worse, that souffle actually comes from the same root as flatulence? Well, I don't know. I'll take the souffle, but leave the farts behind. But anyways, we're sitting down to talk about where these words come from. They're not always delicious, but definitely interesting. Let's listen in. Maybe give us an example or a couple of examples of specific culinary words that the origin or I guess if you heard the origin and you heard what it is now, you would say, like, how did we even get here? Oh. Like, there's such a disparity between the origin and what it's referred to now.
Okay, yeah,
Any
there's
come
some
to
really
mind?
Yeah, lasagna comes to mind.
Okay.
Because we all love lasagna. I might even be making it later on today for supper.
That sounds good.
Something that, in our family we really love. But originally that came from a Latin word. So in ancient Rome, there was a pan called a lasanus. And a lasanus was not a cooking pan. It was a, it's escaping me now, a bedpan. Lasanus referred to a bedpan.
No way.
Yeah.
Ew.
So,
that doesn't sound delicious at all.
Yeah, for some reason that entered other languages with a broader sense of just pan. And then, of course, in English, it became known as the pan that the pasta is made in. So that one really had a change. Another example might be, let's say pantry. Well, yeah, I'm going to use pantry because I like that word. Anybody who knows a little bit of French or Spanish or Latin, they look at the word pantry, the P-A-N part that it starts with, might guess that it comes from a source that means bread. And in fact, it does. It comes from the Latin panis, that means bread. And a pantry originally was a place where you kept bread. Nowadays, we have a room we call a pantry, little room. We don't keep bread in there. We keep, everything but bread in there almost.
Yeah, shelf-stable thing, just like the general whatever that doesn't fit in the fridge goes in the pantry, right?
Yeah. Companion comes from the same source too. Like the clum means with, and the panion part means bread. So a companion, literally, like etymologically, is someone that you break bread with, and that's one of the things I love.
I love that.
Isn't that beautiful?
I love that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that just gave so much cool perspective to the word companion.
Yep.
I love that.
I love that. I love that.
A company, same thing, right? You break bread with your company. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right. I'm thinking too, eventually, England, of course, became a world power and went out exploring and trading and colonizing places. And of course, it took back food products that people encountered there, spices, things like that, fruits. And so a lot of food words entered at that point. So we're talking here sort of the 15th, 16th, 17th century. And so words like banana, for example. So I'm going to use Shakespeare sort of as the benchmark here. Shakespeare would never have eaten a banana because they hadn't been imported into England yet. So he never had that opportunity. But a generation after him, they had bananas, but they didn't call them bananas then. They called them, a banana was called a mauz, M-A-U-Z, which is a word that came from Arabic, and in Arabic it means finger.
Moz. In Arabic, banana is moz.
Okay, do you speak some Arabic?
I speak it fluently, yes. I'm Egyptian.
أنا درست اللغة العربية.
مش معقول. درست فين؟
قليلا, just a little bit.
حبة شوية.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Moz,
so,
and what's funny, just as a little side of that, moz is banana, moza is a pretty girl.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Because when I researched into that, what I read was that there was, sort of the folk tradition that a girl or that a child might be, that the jinn might be jealous of a child if a child was really, really beautiful. And to prevent them from being jealous, you would give them a kind of silly name or a foolish name or what was seen. So you would name them banana, Mausa, in other words. I don't know if that's how accurate that is, but that's one thing I've heard.
The lexicon of language, I mean, and really, like, I'm sure in your study, whether it be from a Norwegian background or, one of the Germanic backgrounds or French, all kinds of languages, I feel like we borrow things from. And even like speaking of Arabic, even in the Arabic language, some words are borrowed from French because of settlement.
Exactly.
The French invasion, English invasion as well, and occupation of Egypt. So there's a lot of different influences. And I'm sure in your studies, you've seen that over and over again. But I'm curious if there are any influences on language in general that come from lesser known countries or places where you might be surprised of the origin of the word not being of maybe a typical invader country. I don't know how else to put it. But.
No, that's not a bad way of putting it. Okay, maybe this is an example. You might think, what is more English, as in England, than punch? You always think of them having garden parties, and there's punch there. Punch is actually a Punjabi word from northern England. And in fact, the word punch and the word Punjabi are related to each other because they both come from the word panj, the Punjabi word panj, that means five. So the Punjab is a place where five rivers come together. And punch was originally made with five ingredients. So, punch.
That's fascinating.
So maybe another way of putting it is the punch we drink and the punch that, Muhammad Ali throws at an opponent, totally unrelated. They just
five fingers.
Well done. Like that. Yeah.
That's the five. Yes, that's awesome. Okay, so we just got a lot of food for thought on where food words come from, like companion and lasagna. But words aren't the only things with a hidden story. The places we eat, well, they have secrets too. And my next guest, Kenny Dunn, is the guy who helps you find them. Kenny is the founder of Eating Europe, a premium culinary tour company offering immersive, hyper-local food experiences in iconic cities across the continent. He's a former UN employee turned entrepreneur, and his passion for food and storytelling has helped literally thousands, tens of thousands of travelers connect more deeply with local communities. Now, if you're wondering where to go Let me give you a visual. Sizzling garlic shrimp in Spain that you're dipping your bread in, and that little humble spot that just happens to serve the best cup of coffee, or that little bodega where you can get the best tacos of your life. I mean, I get chills just talking about it. So let's dig in.
There's this one place we go to on one of our tours where they just do the garlic shrimp, gambas al ajillo, and that's all you order. You know, that and like vermouth or a beer, and you see them preparing them like we were talking about with the pastel de nata right there, and it comes out and it's sizzling hot, and you dip the bread in the garlic olive oil sauce. The shrimp are hot and delicious. And then you go across the street and that place just does fried fish. Like I think it's cod or something else. And so I love that too. Like I love and to see some of these places that are still packed with locals. They just do one thing and there's a line of 30 people waiting to get in, which isn't like an Instagram place that blew up. And so that's why they have a line.
See that
But it's
I
just
love
people
that
lining up.
because to me, like the Instagram places that have blown up, I found to be like the places I wanted to avoid the most. You know, there were a lot of waits, a lot of lines. I mean, I found that the food was way more hyped up than anything, than it really gave it, you know, I don't know. I just didn't have any good
For sure.
experience with that. Like for me, it was always the smaller, you know, off the beaten path places that impressed me. And Madrid rocked my world. Like I was there in June of this year, and I know that the main food halls are pretty touristy, but they're still so impressive, and I still think that people should go because you've never experienced so much variety of food and so much abundance and beautifully, you know, kind of merchandised in front of you as these food halls. And I really
Even the
appreciated those.
architecture. Yeah. Yeah. Like even the building itself, if we're
Yes.
thinking of the same one in Madrid,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just
Yeah.
gorgeous. Like just to look at from the outside
Totally.
before even tasting anything,
I ended
you
up
know,
going like every day, even if it was just to get like one thing, you know, to try the different Spanish tortilla, or, you know, to go and have like a little treat or something. I mean, you walk so much in Europe, you got to eat a lot.
yeah, that's the good
Yeah.
thing. You really do. If you're like trying to get your 10,000 steps, that's easy,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh
like,
yeah, no
uh,
problem. Yeah, so
and
I think
yeah, I love the markets, you know,
I
for
think you
sure.
learn a lot from the markets. I really want to emphasize this for the listeners because the market, it's, you know, you go to the supermarket or even the farmer's market, I'm going to say, and some farmer's markets are great in the US, but you go to these markets and it's a different level of experience. I just feel like it's so much more, you know, interactive. You find other people from the community there shopping with you. You know, a Saturday morning market in a small, you know, European town, whether it be France or Spain or Italy or Portugal, you're going to experience a slice of humanity. And I think that's
Yeah.
really important. I think as travelers, there's a difference between a tourist and a traveler. A traveler is going to just see what life is like in another place, and I think have such a deeper appreciation and richer experience if they do that rather than just sticking to the tourist spots or the popular spots on Instagram.
100%. And that's why, I mean, I think food tour now, you know, when I first started, most people had never heard of never heard of a food tour, let alone done one. And now it's become popular, so that name has stuck. But to me, really what we're trying to do is give people exactly what you were describing, like a way to access and experience and learn about what it's like to live in that place, you know, to kind of dig below the surface
Yeah.
and get a taste of local life as you're eating all of this food. You're learning about why people eat it. What do people eat for breakfast? what is this aperitivo? Why in Italy are there, it's a primo, secondo, um, and in every, everywhere. And hearing about what that person, your guide in your small group of 8 or 10 people, what they like about living in that city or growing up in that city. And so I think food tours, among just going to markets, all those kind of things are a way to get at that,
Yeah.
life in that place.
Totally. Yeah, it's a richer experience for sure. All of these stories have got me thinking. I mean, we explore all these places and we learn the stories and we hunt down the authentic spots. But then we come home and we're standing in front of our own refrigerators, confused, especially about one thing: protein. Are we getting enough? Is it the right kind? And do you really have to eat meat at every single meal to be healthy? Well, here's the spoiler alert. No. But here's the thing I don't think enough people talk about. It's not just how much protein you eat. It's what the protein ate before you did. Yeah, I'm talking about farmed versus wild caught versus grass fed and finished versus factory farmed. And why your grandparents probably had it right all along. In this segment, I'm going solo to clear up the protein confusion, give you the real talk on plant versus animal, and share exactly how I layer my meals to hit my goals without losing my mind. If you've ever felt guilty about your food choices, or in most cases just confused, you need to hear this. If you're eating healthy but still feel low energy, inflamed, or like your meals are missing something, it might be that you're not getting enough micronutrients. And that's exactly why I created Superfood Sprinkle. It's my all-in-one flavor and health-forward seasoning made with real functional ingredients like the amazing black cumin, turmeric, sesame seeds, brain-healthy mushrooms, kelp, nutritional yeast, and so much more. It isn't fairy dust, and it's not a supplement that you forgot to take. It's the easiest way to upgrade whatever you're already eating: eggs, veggies, bowls, avocado toast, and even popcorn. Sprinkle it on, and suddenly your food works for you. More flavor, more nutrients, and less effort. Because eating well shouldn't feel complicated, it should feel empowering. Now, if you head to chefmaria.com and use the code REALDISH, you'll get a special listener bonus. It's a sprinkle and a big shift. Now, what are you waiting for? Get some sprinkle in your life. Algae and spirulina are also good sources, decent sources of protein. You definitely need to layer those in with other things, but a tablespoon of spirulina has about 4 grams of protein and is super sustainable. So one question I get a lot is whether plant-based proteins are as complete as animal-based ones. And it's a great question. While many plant proteins lack one or more essential amino acids, you can easily get all the amino acids you need by eating a variety of plant-based foods or layering, like I mentioned just now. So quinoa is one that is has the full spectrum of amino acids. Beans and rice gets you there. Getting your tofu or tempeh with the addition of maybe chia seeds or hemp seeds will get you there. So definitely layering them will get you all the way to the finish line. But beans and rice, oh, so nice. Just remember that. Now, quality matters. So I want you to really, for the people in the back, lean into this, because here's the deal. Just because you're getting your macros and you're meeting, what your goals are with protein, not all protein is created equal. So processed protein sources like deli meats or a lot of protein bars can be filled with sodium and sugar and artificial ingredients, and that S word, sucralose, which I should think it should be banned. But it's just no bueno. Okay, so always aim for whole food sources when you can, but we're human and sometimes we need to grab things on the go. Protein bars that have crap ingredients, you just want to avoid. Now, let's not forget the environmental impact of protein choices. Farm raised seafood versus wild caught. We are talking about completely different animals. So when you look at the omega-3 profile of a farm-raised seafood versus wild-caught, it's completely different. The farm-raised tends to contain higher inflammatory omegas like omega-6s and 9s, which we still need some of those omegas, but we don't need them in the proportion that you would get in a farm-raised animal versus wild-caught where you're getting the seafood that's eating krill and algae and all of the, things that it's supposed to be eating. So of course, the balance of omegas are healthier for us. So really know the protein sources. Meat, a lot of beef is factory raised, okay? Factory farmed and raised in, I'm just going to say, unscrupulous and unhealthy conditions. Where the animals are fed antibiotics on a preventative measure. So they're just loaded up so that they produce, more milk, they weigh more so that they produce more meat, and they're just not good for us. So what we eat is what they ate. Think about that. So if they're not eating well, we're eating inflammatory food too. So I'm going to say, if you are on a carnivore diet and you're just eating meat, but you're not getting good, healthy sources of meat like grass-fed and finished, or heritage pork, or, organic, true free-range chicken, then I would say lean into more of the plant-based. I mean, seriously, we really need to understand where our food comes from. And this is a very important part of being an omnivore, right? The higher up the food chain we go, the more important it is for us to know where our food comes from. And it's not snobbish, okay? I really want to dispel this myth of oh, you're just being, snobby when you say eat wild caught or eat this, we should just eat food. Well, I'm going to say my parents grew up poor, okay? Poor. And, they would really eat much more beans and rice and vegetables and seeds and nuts and things like that than they would meat. I mean, getting meat was a special occasion. My grandfather would raise pigeons on our balcony and slaughter them, or, it was not uncommon to walk into the second bathroom and see a turkey in there, he raised turkey and meat and things like that himself. So we knew where it came from. We would go to the market and he would get the animal and slaughter it himself, but that's not that common anymore. So if we're responsible in how we eat, we need to know where our food comes from. And it's better to, go plant-based than it is to eat a bunch of inflammatory meat and fish. Now, how do you get enough protein? I think it's really important to be strategic. And that's why I created a meal prep app for you. And you can find out more by going to the show notes. It's just mealprepapp.chefmaria.com. You can get more at chefmaria.com right from the homepage. But I created that meal prep app so that it would make it super simple for you to track and know how much protein to get for your specific needs, because we're all different. 105-pound woman is going to eat very differently than a 180-pound man or a 250-pound, bodybuilder. So we all have different needs. And that's where the meal prep app is going to be indispensable for you. It's just $19.99 a month. And with that, you get a specific meal prep program for you. And it uses all of my recipes that are really easy to make and all whole foods. So you could say, for example, I'm after this goal. I weigh this much right now. I'm a 52-year-old female, and my goal is to, gain muscle or lose weight or, stay where I am, but just eat better or, gain muscle, whatever it is. So I think I said gain muscle already. But anyway, see, that's how focused I am on gaining muscle. But, it would behoove you to just check it out. It's free to create an account, mealprepapp.chefmaria.com, and you can get the link in the show notes and just check it out. I would never steer you wrong. But here are some practical tips to get to your protein. So do the math. If your goal is to get 120 grams of protein a day, you're just going to need to split it up over your meals. So if you're eating 4 times a day, it's 30 grams of protein a meal. I mean, I'm not a math whiz, but I could figure that out without a calculator. So start the day strong. This is where I like to load up on protein. I'll do eggs with a little bit of smoked salmon, and maybe like farmer's cheese. Farmer's cheese is the dry version of cottage cheese, and it's as nutrient or as protein dense as cottage cheese is. So just by combining those 3 things, I get to my goals. Or do Greek yogurt with a scoop of protein in there and add some hemp seeds to it. Or do a smoothie with protein powder, add your collagen and a scoop of spirulina. You see what I'm saying? So you can get there easily in the morning. Now, snacks matter too. Keeping healthy, high protein snacks on hand, like your cottage cheese, your roasted chickpeas, which I have a great recipe for in my book, Eat Like You Give a Fork, The Real Dish on Eating to Thrive. Spiced nuts, which I also have a great recipe for spiced almonds in there. You can do pumpkin seeds. You can do a little mushroom protein smoothie, so many different ways. I love, I'll do like a little chicken strip, or I'll do, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say a beef stick, one of these grass-fed beef sticks that it's just like dried beef, like jerky, but it's dried beef. Those types of things are great to have on hand because they're shelf stable too, and you can just keep them in your bag or in your glove box. And, it's like your emergency kit, your 911, break into this so that you don't get hangry and hurt somebody, because you could commit murder if you're hangry. I've seen it. Can you believe, and not to go on a crazy tangent, but I have seen blood sugar as an excuse or as an alibi for, somebody trying to get off of murder. Seriously, I've seen it. I've read about it. And then mix it up, just because you eat animal protein doesn't mean you need to have it at every meal. So for example, last night I had this delicious lentil soup with a beautiful salad that had garbanzo beans, hemp seeds. I had a little side of a high protein bread that I had with it, and it was all plant-based. Oh, and it had a little bit of broiled tofu. So, you can do this. You don't have to feel like because you're an omnivore, there has to be meat at every meal. I think sometimes we work too hard to give ourselves a label. You can just be an omnivore and eat plant-based sometimes. Like in the month of January, I just decided that I didn't want to eat meat for the month of January. I gave up meat. It feels really good to just cleanse your body because digesting meat can be a little bit hard on your system. And I still feel energetic. I still feel good. I'm still active. I'm still lifting weights. It won't hurt you to switch it up. And you might just find that you try something new and you just really enjoy it. Now, we've been all over the food map. We've talked about the origins of food words. We've talked about traveling to find the best food. We've talked about practical solutions for nailing your protein. But now I'm going to get real with you about something people don't really like to talk about, and that is cravings. The ones that sneak up at midnight and have you knee deep in a cookie jar. Now, we know that's not the right thing, but we still do it. And here's the thing, at 50 something, I've chosen to go a route where food and lifestyle are my main medications. Not saying that that has to be your path, but just saying that there is a way around taking prescription medication for this phase of life. So whether you're navigating hormones or just navigating your kitchen, cravings aren't the enemy, they're messengers. And they're usually telling you that something is missing. So I'm going to show you how to listen to what they're really telling you so that you can get over the guilt, the shame, and let's face it, the expanding waistline of your own cravings. I am not a doctor, so I am going to preface that right here and right now. But when I look at around the world and I see how other cultures manage midlife, I see very few of those cultures using HRT. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that there are ways to manage your existing, situation using lifestyle. And I am a testament to that. I have decided for as long as I can, I am not going to use hormone replacement. I may change my mind in the future, but for now, I feel like the right balance of exercise and supplementation and sleep and mindset and all of the things are doing quite well for me. So as long as you are getting what you need, I don't think there is one right prescription to go about this. So just wanted to mention that in case you were wondering. And for me, this is just a lifestyle I've chosen because I try and not take any prescription medications, and HRT are prescribed if I can help it. I grew up with a mom who was a pharmacist, and there was a prescription for everything. You got a headache, you take something that maybe you didn't need to take. But, I'm not faulting her. That's just kind of how we grew up, and it's not necessarily the choices I wanted to make in my life. So if that's you, then this is an approach that you can take as well. So let's talk about real life craving triggers, because if you're triggered, if scrolling triggers anxiety, if scrolling triggers comparison, if watching the news triggers, oh my gosh, the world's coming to an end, turn them off. Saying we get so triggered. If it really triggers you and you can't control that trigger, you got to turn it off. You got to just get away from it. And the same thing goes for triggers in your cravings. What sets those triggers off? Is it fatigue? Your body's tired, or you're just fueling up on coffee nonstop and you're not actually getting real sustained energy. I used to be this person. I used to be somebody that barely ate and just fueled up on coffee, 8 to 10 cups a day. I'm not proud to admit it, but it's true. And so I was always tired and always looking for fast energy, and I thought another cup of coffee was the answer. That's not the answer. You actually need food. You need fresh air. You need exercise. You need all those things to avoid fatigue. So are you tired? Are you stressed out? Are you running on cortisol? Are your adrenal glands completely drained? If you are, you probably feel just hopeless. And food is actually a comfort. It feels like relief. So it's always about grabbing the cookie or grabbing the candy or grabbing the soda or the drink that gets you, quote, through the night. And those are going to backfire because they're actually going to increase your cortisol in many cases. Are there emotional triggers going on? Are we lonely? Are we bored? Are we anxious? There's the song currently, as I'm recording this, that's out there, that's all about anxiety. And I see it all over Instagram now. And it's like, geez, if you weren't anxious, maybe you should be. Just hearing that song over and over again, it's like fueling anxiety. So this ends up taking you places that you probably don't want to go. And look, I understand we're all trying to find comfort in life. We're all trying to find happiness and joy and love. But food is not the answer to your emotional need. Because oftentimes the emotional side just doesn't get full with the food. It really needs something deeper. And if you know me for any period of time, my faith is a big part of that. And I really found like that was what filled me emotionally. And then I could go out and do all the great things that I wanted to do in life just by having that as my foundation. But we need something that anchors us. And that really can be a trigger for the most deep-seated cravings. And on the flip side, eating disorders. I can say, as a person who has recovered from an eating disorder that had one for over a decade, a lot of that was just emotional trauma. It was a lot of sadness, a lot of rejection, a lot of feeling like I wasn't enough. And I had to really heal all of that to be able to heal my eating disorder. So that's just really something to take a look at inward. And then restrictive dieting. Okay, we have a major problem out there, and it is a lot of disordered eating. And I'm going to qualify the difference between emotional and disordered eating. Emotional triggers are really coming from a place of an emotional state. Disordered eating is something that you do regularly. And if you're under eating or cutting out major food groups in the for the sake of being healthier, I really would beg you to re-examine that. There are no major food groups that you have to cut out. None. Zero. It's just really how you approach those food groups. So if you, for example, decided to cut out dairy, which I don't eat a lot of dairy either, but I will eat cultured dairy. I will eat sheep's milk, goat's milk. I will eat, raw, unpasteurized, in some cases, dairy, and all of those work for me. If really none of those work for you and you decide to cut them out because you think that they're not healthy, then I just would beg you to take another look at that. If you have cut out all carbs, and this has become a real trigger for me, I hate seeing this, and I don't use the word hate lightly, but when I see people saying they don't eat carbs, I'm kind of like, okay, let's talk about this, because carbs are not just gluten. Carbs are not just grains. Carbs are fruit. Carbs are vegetables. There's carbs in a lot of things, and Jesus ate bread. So for the love of all things holy, don't throw it out if you don't need to, unless you are diagnosed celiac. I would wager that there are types of grains that you can still eat. And if you feel, again, like none of them work for you, then certainly eat the vegetables. Please don't turn into one of these carnivore people. My goodness, we are just going to send everybody into cardiac arrest here soon. And you can take a listen to some of my past episodes about this, where I've actually interviewed heart doctors who are like, don't do this crazy meat diet. Like, it's just, we need fiber. We need the array of fruits and vegetables, and most sane doctors will support that. So I am going off the deep end a little bit, but let me just circle the wagons here. Cravings aren't the enemy. They're the messengers, okay? They are signaling something else. So when we listen with curiosity instead of judgment, we can actually get to the root of what we really need. You might need a nap. You might not have eaten enough food today. You might be so stressed out because you keep piling things into your backpack, and you just really need to go work it out at the gym, or take a run, or walk in quiet in nature, or listen to this podcast on your own with no errands to run, no deadlines to meet, just clearing your schedule. You might instead of sitting alone and eating and watching the 10th episode of the Netflix show you're binging, read a book or, call a friend or go out and experience life. All of these things are just messengers. So let's cut to the root of what's going on to see what we really need to nourish ourselves, body, mind, and soul. For me, sometimes it's just like stopping the world and praying and being in gratitude for what I have. I personally have gone through a lot of changes lately, and it can kind of set you off, like lots of change all at once can also be a trigger for just running back to food as comfort. But when I sat down, really dissected what was going on with me, it wasn't the change so much. It was just really like the unknown. So listen to your heart, listen to what's going on in your mind. You are a smart cookie. You don't need the cookie, okay? That's the difference. So, how do we regain control? Let me share some tools to help you get back on the wagon because, again, I don't feel like there are any foods that are off limits. I really don't. Like, I, of course, stay away from foods with chemical additives and artificial preservatives and colors and GMOs and things like that that just plain are not good for us. But I love pasta. Oh, I love pasta. And pizza? Oh, it's my love language. And a great chocolate chip cookie? Oh, I'm gonna have it. But I'm not gonna have those things every single day. And I'm gonna have the good ones. I'm just gonna give myself the good stuff and I'm gonna control the portion sizes. And you can do the same exact thing. It's what I call the 90-10 rule. And I talk about it in my book. And I talk about it in my Eat to Thrive program, which you can find out more about in the show notes and on my website at chefmaria.com. And I'm here for it all. What a fun ride, you guys. From discovering that lasagna started as a bedpan, still can't get over that one, and not sure how I will ever eat it again, to traveling the globe with Kenny Dunn in search of the perfect garlic shrimp. We geeked out on protein, got real about cravings, and talked about navigating midlife on our own terms. And here's what I keep coming back to. Food is the language. It's history, it's travel, it's science, it's emotion, it's connection. And whether you're digging into the origin of a word, hunting down the best authentic market in Europe, or just trying to figure out why you're standing in front of the pantry at midnight, it's all connected. So here's my challenge to you. Stay curious about your food, your body, your cravings, and your story, because the more you know, the better you eat, and the better you eat, the better you live. I'm Chef Maria, and this has been a mashup for the books. Let me know if you like this format, because, hey, if you're not here, I'm not here. And tune in next time for more food for thought and delicious tidbits to sink your teeth into. Until then, I'll see you soon.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal health advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice, and the views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the management. Hey, it's Chef Maria, and thank you so much for tuning into The Real Dish. It means a lot to me that you're here. I hope today's episode has inspired you to take some proactive steps towards a healthier and happier you. Because just remember, bite-sized changes can lead to big transformations. But before you go, would you do me a big favor? If you found value in this episode, would you share it with 2 of your closest friends and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode? And if you really want to make this girl's day, would you leave a 5-star review? I do hear an angel gets its wings every time you do that. But really, this helps us spread the message of real life wellness to even more listeners. And everybody could use a healthy portion of that, right? Now, until next time, remember, you are the chef of your own kitchen. So feed your life well, make good decisions, prioritize your well-being, and remember, you need to take care of you because we only get one of you and you are a gift to everyone around you. So until next week, this is Chef Maria signing off. And just remember, we're here to cook up a good time every single week. We'll see you soon.